Dr. Basu, the government also says its plan is to trigger growth in MSMEs and the informal sector. This is critical. They contribute over 37% to the GDP. They've been the most affected, some say, by the coronavirus pandemic. Again, how do you restore confidence in those whose businesses have been shattered for several months now? The government says that they are giving soft loans, putting in place a plan to resurrect MSMEs. We still haven't seen the results on the ground. Where do you start now?
The MSME is important. The informal sector in India, which is huge, is important. But it's not a question of focusing on one particular sector and emphasizing that sector as the start and the rest later. India's private sector plays a very important role. And I should emphasize that when I'm talking of the private sector, it is not a question of just a couple of big firms being supported to grow further. India's private sector is from the small street corner shop to big corporations. Mm-hmm. And you want to create a level playing field so that the private sector flourishes. The MSME is important, but to ignore in general the larger private sector functioning will be wrong. And right now, Rajdeep, I should point out, the short-run concern is our workers. Our migrants and laborers have been treated in a way which was a shameful lack of empathy. And I think that has wounded a lot of India. This is the silent India. They don't rise up. But what we saw on television happening to them has damaged, has left scars. So our first short-run move is to solve these scars, get the economy going slowly back up again, and restore the professionalism that was there, get investments back up growing. So it's still possible, but I cannot deny that for the first time in the last 5-6 years, I'm deeply worried about what will happen to the Indian economy. It's no longer a certainty that we are going to come out on top of the world.
You know, that's troubling. You seem to be suggesting, Dr. Basu, that things could get worse before they get better. Now, even if coronavirus comes under control, do you believe we will see a V-shaped recovery that Dr. Subramaniam, the chief economic advisor, told me about? Or do you see a hockey stick-shaped recovery, much that will take time for the Indian economy to get back to 6, 7, 8%?
Yeah, hockey stick is a good term. I never thought of that. It may well be a hockey stick recovery, but more than that, my worry is all over the world, there's going to be something like, let me use your term, a hockey stick recovery. But I fear India's recovery is going to be slower because the damage that has happened to the economy over the last 5 years needs repair. So there will be recovery. We've gone down completely. 2021 is going to be a very, very bad year. We will recover out of this. But if we don't recover as well as other countries do, then over the next 10 years, 20 years, the big India story that the world was talking about 7, 8 years ago, that story will be lost forever. So some recovery will happen for sure, but it's the relative terms. Vietnam has pulled in a lot of investment that has exited China. China has pulled back a lot of new investment. Compared to that investment coming into India, what was being expected 6 months ago, we have seen none of that. This needs to be corrected. So some recovery, but recovery in step with the rest of the world. We can't lag behind, which is what is happening.
You know, you're talking about the India story, Dr. Basu. The Prime Minister has laid down this target of making India a $5 trillion economy by 2024-25. Given what we are now seeing, is that an unrealistic roadmap?
Well, it was always unrealistic. If you just did the numbers on paper, it was not possible to get there unless the dollar lost value. So Indian inflation would not do that. Some economists, I've heard them speak on Indian television, saying that, well, we can make it with a little bit of inflation, boosting the size. But Indian inflation would not do it. Because it's in $5 trillion economy, it's measured in dollars, you would need America to inflate for India to make that target earlier. Now it's an absolute impossibility. With what has happened to our growth, there's no way we'll get there.